They fired me and hired my useless assistant instead. Ended up needing 2 people to replace me. I was working at a small company and had been there for about 2 years. I was the only one who knew how to do my job, and I was doing it well. One day, my boss called me into his office and told me that they were going to hire someone to help me with my workload. I was thrilled. I had been asking for help for months, and finally, they were listening. A few weeks later, they hired a guy who was supposed to be my assistant. However, it quickly became apparent that he had no idea what he was doing. He would constantly ask me questions about how to do his job, and I would have to stop what I was doing to help him. This went on for a few months, and I was getting frustrated. I went to my boss and told him that this guy was not helping me at all, and that I needed someone who actually knew what they were doing. My boss told me that they couldn't afford to hire anyone else, and that I would just have to deal with it. A few weeks later, I was called into my boss's office again. He told me that they were letting me go because they couldn't afford to keep me on staff. I was shocked. I asked him who was going to do my job, and he told me that the guy they hired to help me was going to take over. I left that day and never looked back. A few months later, I ran into one of my former coworkers. She told me that the guy they hired to replace me had quit after a few weeks because he couldn't handle the workload. They ended up having to hire 2 people to do my job, and they were still struggling to keep up.